Hey, what's up, guys? Back with another pop scam update. So, I wanted to dive a little bit into who's actually supposedly behind this project, or at least the front facing, right? We've been told that there's two main investors, Nick and IC, and Pony, two Asian dudes who I don't know if we know their last names because I guess they're like Prince. If you're really cool, you don't have a last name. But who are the front facing people of this scam organization? Well, first we have Anjali Dubey, who is the CMO of Pop Social, who is supposedly the parent organization over this whole thing. From what I understand, Pop Social started as a Asian version of TikTok that never really took off, and they wanted to pay people in PPT tokens for their likes and comments and shares. And so Anjali here is the chief marketing officer. Now, the chief marketing officer of a global organization seems like a really important position. What credentials does she have? How is she qualified? Well, let's take a look at her LinkedIn here. She went to St. Teresa School in India, which is a primary and secondary education school. So she graduated from high school, basically, from this school in India, and immediately went into being the chief marketing officer of Pop Social. Wow. She really must have had some amazing experiences and credentials to land that job. And where is she from? Well, she posts on LinkedIn she's from Kolkata, West Bengal, India. Okay. Well, let's see here. Who is the CMO of Pop Max? Komal. We always hear of her name, just Komal. She only appears in the quarterly international events. There's been one in Jeju Island, South Korea, I think back in July. And they just had one in Bali. Only time you ever see her. Now, occasionally she drops in on some of Magnus's previous weekly leadership updates for a minute or two. Very occasionally, not very often. But surely she has, quite the background and experience as well to be the CEO. I'm sorry, the CEO. I said CMO previously. The CEO of Pop Max, right? The CEO is even more important than the CMO. It is like the leadership position, and you'd want someone in there who had lots of experience, who really knew their stuff, who has scaled and built international companies, and took in millions of dollars of investor money, right? Let's see what her experience is. Oh, well, in the last 2 years, she's been head of marketing for two companies, of which looks like she was head of marketing for two companies for a short time at the same time. And then all of a sudden, she was promoted to CEO of Pop Max. This year, not even that long ago, March of 2025. She's been CEO, right? And where does she live? Oh, Kolkata, West Bengal, India. Now, this is the only place that we've seen where her last name is actually shown. Komal Dubey. Where have I seen that last name, Dubey? Oh, yes. Anjali Dubey, who's the CMO of Pop Social. Huh. These two are sisters. And it's amazing that these two have such great experience in the business world that they've been promoted to chief marketing officer and chief executive officer of two global companies bringing in millions of investment dollars. Which should add that no one can actually get back or utilize or make a return on in any meaningful way. So, we should talk about this. Why are these two sisters the leading faces and the leading leadership of a global company that has brought in millions and millions of dollars? Well, I have a theory. So Nick and Pony, if they are actually the investors of this pop scam ecosystem, they found these two sisters in the middle of India and said, hey, we need a face to these roles. We're going to pay you a bunch of money. You got to show up at these international quarterly events, which they only have 2 now. Because I guarantee you they're not going to have another Pop Max international event, because people will come there and they will tar and feather them, or they might do worse. I don't know. People are pretty angry. And that's all you have to do. You have to show up to these 2 international events. You have to show up on Magnus's weekly leadership calls from time to time. And we'll pay you a ton of money, because we're going to bring in millions and millions of dollars every week in investments through Pop Max scam. And we'll give you a cut of that. So that's exactly probably what happened. So we have Anjali and Komal. And then, who is the CMO of Pop Max? So we know Komal is the CEO of Pop Max. Her sister, Anjali, is a CMO of Pop Social. But who's the CMO of Pop Max? Well, if you look up Magnus Larsson, Pop Max, don't you think that the CMO of a global organization would be on LinkedIn? You would think so, but no, sir. Nowhere to be found. Now, he does have a couple mentions on the internet here and there. I'll save that for another video. But not a single mention of Magnus Larsson, CMO of a global multi-million-dollar international organization on LinkedIn. If you go back to Komal, who's the CEO, right? She's had a couple head of marketing. And head of marketing usually networks quite a bit. But let's take a look here. She has a whopping 6 connections on LinkedIn. You think the CEO and a previous head of marketing might have a few connections in the world? I mean, even from their own organization? You would think. Anjali is the CMO of Pop Social now. She's a little bit better. She got 151 connections. She has only posted ever this year, and at various crypto events and the own Pop scam events, quarterly events. And here she is holding up the Pop Max. Now, this is a CMO of Pop Social, and she's holding up the sign of Pop Max to help prop up her sister and this scam organization. So let's move on to Sal Khan. Not C-O-N, like a con man, because he is a con man, but Sal Khan. You might recognize his face here because he has this Gifting Tribe YouTube channel. Has over 6,000 subscribers, 121 videos. And he's probably one of the largest Pop Max scamming leadership members, meaning he has a large team under him, his downline. And if you've watched any of his videos, he's gone on and on and on, and to the point where they stopped giving you the ability to pull money out. But he used to brag almost every day on his Telegram channel and also on his YouTube channel about how much money he's bringing in. Guys, today I crossed $4,000. Guys, today I crossed $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a day. And he didn't have that much money in this project himself. He's a great MLM marketer. I'll give him credit for that. He's built a giant team. But you could see in the screenshots, well, today's crossed $7,000. Well, his team earnings was like, $500,000 or more based on the money you and I put in. Now, I'm under Sal as well. I'm under his, I'm not directly, but someone that he sponsored me, or, referred me, I should say. And instead of really trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, he's being pushed by the Pop Scam team to keep promoting Luma. And that's a little bit different from Luna. If you recall, Luna started during the whole FTX downfall, the crypto winter, It was supposedly a stable coin that went under, and billions of dollars of investors' money was lost. So it's interesting that these scammers chose the name Luma, which is very close to Luna. But if you look at his YouTube page, he's now promoting Luma, 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 Luma. Even the one that says Pop Max is actually how to take your useless PUSD, transfer it to Nivex, to then mine hash to receive Pop, to put into Luma to get your USDT. So even the one that says Pop Max, he's pitching Luma. Same down here. Take your useless PUSD, put it into Nivex exchange, also part of the scam machine, generate Pop tokens, and stake it in Luma to generate the ability to cash out USDT, which looks like it's possible, but you get a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of percent of your original investment back. Now, this guy has gone on, and you can see he's always traveling to these exotic places to meet with leadership. He even got invited to come meet with Simon Hardy, the scam CEO of Nivex Exchange. He shares Magnus updates, which aren't actually updates. He's hosted Magnus on his channel. He even gets invited to speak with Nick in Dubai. So this guy has direct access to all the top leaders in this organization, from the main investor of Pop ecosystem, which is Pop Chain, Pop Social, Pop Max, Punkverse, Pop Chain. He gets invited to meet with the investor, lead investor, and he gets invited to meet with the CEO of the Nivex exchange. Yet he claims he has no idea or updates on how they're going to help the investment community and resolve the millions of dollars of investments that investors can no longer pull out. That seems a little strange to me. Seems very strange to me. So what does that tell me? It tells me that he's part of the scam. They approached him and said, hey, we have this interesting opportunity. It's blowing up in Asia. We're going to make you the face of the, quote, English market, even though he's not actually, from America or the UK or anywhere else that speaks English. He speaks pretty good English, which I have a feeling he was maybe educated in the West. But they told him, say, hey, we're going to make you the face of the English market. Everyone is going to be under you. Literally everyone in the English market is going to be under you in some way. You're going to generate a ton of referral money. We're going to pay you out. You're going to collect, probably $500,000 over the course of the summer. And at some point, we're going to rug it, and we're going to make you the face of Luma, and you're going to get all your people that followed you and invested under your downline to invest into Luma. And so that's what's happening. So this guy, who's from a poor village in Bangladesh, who's also part of the leadership team from India. So you got Indians and a dude from Bangladesh pitching a scam project. And the interesting thing is Sal Khan, again, con man, if you look way down in his videos at some point, past all the, oh my gosh, I'm making all this money, amazing. If you go way down his videos, before he got into Pop Max, he was in another protocol. I don't know exactly what it was. But at one point, he had accumulated $4.4 million in another scam project, mostly from, again, referrals and scamming other investors. And if you look at the video, 10 lessons from losing $4.4 million. Part of his video here says, don't believe their story. Meaning, if a project comes to you and promises all these great returns, don't believe the story they are feeding you. And hopefully this audio comes through, but let's just listen a little bit here.
It doesn't matter precisely what this particular thing that I was in was. everything. Every company is trying to get your money, and they're going to tell you a romantic story of how you can get out of the 9 to 5, how you can break generational poverty, how you can accomplish all of your dreams and become successful. All they need is your money, your money in their platform, that they're going to do something with, and hopefully pay you out as they say they will. Not only that, but how they're making their money, don't believe that story either. Even if they show you how they're making their money, these creative artists are getting quite ingenious of the backstory of the foundational things of, we have a registered office, we got this high level official, the ambassador of this and that, the sheikh of this, the president of that, the whatever those celebrities or whatever. Don't believe any of the stories that they're telling. And by the way, these are lessons that I'm giving myself. You're just like lessons that I took away. So you can take my word for it, or you can learn on your own. I'm just.
So here we are, from the man himself, from the man who have scammed millions of dollars in investor money and PopMax, from his own words, telling you don't believe the story they are feeding you. Don't believe when they say you can get amazing returns. All we need is your money. He himself have said this. Now, PopMax is dead. People, you're not getting your money back. I'm not getting my money back. I invested a lot of money based off of what this guy was pitching me. So shame on me. I only have myself to blame. I still think these people are wrong. I still think they should do the right thing and return investor money, especially if they want to see their next project take off. Because I'm not staying quiet. I will make videos every week for as long as Luma exists until they make it right. But here's the man, Sal Khan, Khan Man. You can reach him at Sal Khan Empire on Telegram and Facebook. You can find him on the Gifting Tribe Facebook page. But here's the man himself telling you don't believe, a word of their story. And here he is here saying, it's all a game of risk and reward. Only enter the casino with only what you're willing to lose 100%. Well, everyone's lost 100%. Oh, I love this. Don't get drunk on the hype by the leaders, i.e. him. Don't get drunk on what he's telling you. He himself has made so much money out of this project that he's, recouped some of this $4.4 million he's lost in this other scam project. But he is a master MLM scammer, and he'll keep going on. And he already has, right? So the only reason he even generated $4.4 million was scamming a previous group of investors. He's now scammed your money in PopMax. And if you follow him to his next scam, which is the Luma Protocol, run by the same people, run by Nivex, run by PopChain, run by PopScam, he's done this twice that we know of, at least. He generated $4.4 million in this scam project. He generated, God knows how many $1 million in the PopMax scam. And now he's asking you to follow him to his great next scam, which is the Luma Protocol and the great potential of future growth revealed and all the money that you could possibly make. It's the exact same process, right? Stake money into Luma, make 0.5 to 1% daily, get 3 to 4x return on your investment. Does that sound familiar? Because it's the exact same pitch that he was telling people about PopMax, right? And look at this guy. He's so happy. He's down, in some tropical resort on a beach with Simon Hardy, one of the architects of the scam, just having a good old time. And, I'd love to be a fly on the wall, or the umbrella, if you will, of what those conversations were when the camera wasn't rolling, when Simon was probably saying, hey, you did a great job. We raised the millions of dollars we needed to scam people in order to get Nivex and Luma Protocol up and launched. You did a great job. We're now going to make you the face of the next project. And if there's anyone in Telegram who, is speaking negative, or what they say is negative, or is voicing concern about, hey, where's my money? What happened to this project? We'll either kick them out of the group or mute them. So don't worry. So, here, I'm actually one of the, probably hundreds of people who have been muted from this Telegram group of, Pop Max Global Group, 16,000 people. And if you recall back in September 13th or so, when they shut down the ability to swap your PUSD of your hard-earned money, we have Magnus Larsson, again, who is the CMO, who doesn't have any presence on LinkedIn, sharing a word from Mr. Pony, the biggest scammer and shareholder of Pop. This long, preamble from Mr. Pony, posted by Magnus, who never posts in the global group, which is odd for the CMO, right? You would think that the CMO would be one of the most vocal and participating members of this global group. But no, all he does is drop in maybe once a month, once every couple months, with these junk messages, which are just copy and paste from what they tell him to post. He's saying, let me stress, this is not the end of PPT. Well, I hate to tell you people, but this is the end of PPT. When this was posted, I think PPT was just dipping around 18, 19 cents from an all-time high of 43 cents. If you want to look at what the price of PPT is right now, let's take a look here. PPT, which is the Pop Scam token. Yes. So this is, this is just so funny because, we had this dip here, between May and April, or May and June is really when they started pushing this hard, right? People got in, got excited, went all the way up to 45 cents. Had a little retrace. South Korea event was right around here. People got excited, then started going back up. And then it just freaking took a nosedive. Yeah. September 7th. Look, it went from 29 cents down to 11 cents, and it's just kept going down ever since. So when you read this message from Mr. Pony via Magnus saying this is not the end of PPT, well, they're completely full of it. This is the end of PPT, people. For those of you that were holding PPT thinking it was going back up, man, sorry. But now about Pop Max to Pop. So now they're starting to tell you, don't worry, take your worthless PUSD and generate Pop tokens by buying Pop hash rate and getting into Luma, right? So then he goes on this long ramble about, every day 30,000 or 300,000 Pop are going to be generated and distributed to these important investors. Well, when he did this math here, he's, and now again, he did say it was an example, but it was a BS example, and we all know that, because he was saying, theoretically, if you invest 10,000, you could get 1,000 tokens a day. And, the price of the Pop token is going to keep going up. Well, I can tell you, look at this. If 1 million PUSD participates, the latest I saw this morning was over 500 million PUSD was put into this. Now, the 300,000 Pop tokens a day, that hasn't changed. So here he is giving an example of, $10 million PUSD to generate this 300,000 daily Pop tokens. But we have $500 million of PUSD has been put into this hash mining, meaning, like I mentioned in my last video, I have a friend that put in 73,000 US dollar value, USDT value, of the useless PUSD to buy hash mining, because that's the only thing he can do. And if you say otherwise, you get, banned or muted from this group. And yesterday he received 45 POP tokens. Now, POP token is trading at around $1.50 a POP token right now. So he basically made $62 on his $73,000 investment. Now, previously, if you put $73,000 into POP Max, you're earning 1% a day. So you'd get $730 a day. He got $62. So this project is an absolute joke. All these scammers are exactly that. They're scammers. We have Anjali, sister Komal, both living in West Bengal, India, who have no prior experience or any credibility to be leading executives of a global organization bringing in millions of dollars. You got Magnus Larsson, who's a CMO of Pop Max, who has a history of scamming people. We'll get into that in another video. No presence in LinkedIn. He doesn't want to be found. You know why? Because he scammed so many people. You got Sal Khan, man, who has made millions of dollars over his life, probably tens of millions of dollars at this point between the two projects that he scammed, now pitching Luma. Hey, look, convert Pop Max to Luma. Get into Luma. Luma. Amazing growth. Amazing revenue potential. Luma. Forget Pop Max. Forget you lost, whether it's $100 or $100,000 or more. I know people that put in more than $100,000. Forget about that. Just focus on what we can do now. Spend more money. Put more money in. And guess what? I guarantee you, one day, we'll be seeing Sal Khan, man, whether it's on this channel or another channel, pitching the next scam protocol. It's going to happen, people. He is a serial scammer who has scammed millions and millions of dollars of people. And, the really sad thing is, if you go in this PopMax Global group, there are literally people in this group who have no money, who are from poor parts of the world, who invested their life savings. And there's just sad messages. I'm sure they've deleted most of them because these people are scammers. They don't want any negative word to be out there. Part of why I'm doing the video, because I want to be the voice for those people who have, said, I put all my money because I needed to make sure I had enough money to buy my parents, life threatening medicine, or I put all my money into this because I want to send my son to school and I now have no tuition. I can't send him to school. There's just countless stories of people who have very little means yet, put all their money and got their family to put in because they believed in this project. And these people don't care. They're living their good life in Dubai and in Singapore and wherever else they are. They just went to Token 2049 in Singapore and threw a yacht party. Where do you think they got that money? From you and me investing into Pop Max. That's right. We are funding their yacht lifestyle. We're funding Sal Khan, man, traveling to, remote places of the world that people only can dream about going. We have, Magnus giving us his smug update from a Bali airport. This is what's happening, people, right? We have Sal Khan, man, saying, oh my gosh, this amazing big event in Bali. Just amazing things. People are creating their dream life because of Pop Max. And a week later, they shut down the ability to withdraw your money. So that's what we have, people. These are the people behind this scam. Anjali, Komal, Magnus Larsson, this guy with a smug look, and Sal Khan, man, who he himself warned us years ago to don't trust these people. Don't get into these projects. I sure wish I would have seen this video before I invested, countless tens of thousands of dollars under his downline. He warned us himself. The Oracle spoke. The MLM crypto scammer of our lifetime warned us himself. And it was all there for us to see when we didn't listen. So anyways, long longer video than I'd intended, but I thought it was important that we talk about this and really reveal these con people. And we'll keep talking about it. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.